Can you make a video on why marriage doesn't benefit women? Oh, I sure can. I am not saying that women should not get married. This post is just about why it doesn't benefit women equally. Let's get started. Number 1, traditional gender dynamics and heterosexual relationships in this country essentially encourage men to remain independent while encouraging women to become increasingly dependent. Men provide, women take care of the home. Throw a kid into the mix with no recent job experience and it will be very difficult for that woman to leave that marriage, especially while also taking care of her children. Number 2, loss of identity. Again, traditional marriage encourages a woman to slowly compromise herself over time for the sake of her marriage, aka husband, who very rarely makes the same level of compromises in his marriage. Once again, throw a kid into that mix and there's absolutely no comparing them. Once a woman becomes a mother, she loses a huge portion of her identity, while her husband very often maintains his entire identity. 3, gender expectations. Who wants a live-in maid and nanny? Men. Men very rarely in marriage take any initiative when it comes to taking care of the children or the house. This often leads to them asking for lists and not really knowing any basic information about their own lives. Anything that they do is usually requested of them by their wife, who's already aware of what needs to get done. Men very rarely know what needs to get done. And in that way, they depend on the woman entirely to basically do everything, except make money. But often even women who work still have these expectations thrust upon them, and their husbands still remain pretty unhelpful, or just clueless. Number 4, emotional labor. Women are often expected to carry the emotional brunt work of every single relationship they're in, whether it's dating or marriage, but it gets worse in marriage. Again, these dynamics are very rarely discussed, it's just how the cookie crumbles. Most of the emotional work falls on women, which is extremely exhausting. Number 5, physical expectations. I've seen in marriages over and over and over again, the man gaining a huge potbelly, but the woman is still expected to remain attractive. Many men stop taking care of themselves, but still expect their wives to look good. So overall, I'll say this. The reason that I don't think that marriage benefits women is because they do nearly everything. And when anything needs to get done, they often have to ask or beg or ask a bunch of times. But ultimately, they're the ones holding most things together. Most of the critical information is in their head. Their husbands don't take the initiative to know those things on their own. And I think that's bullshit. And I'd like to end with this. I've said this before, but it's worth saying again. Most of these men who are so soft that they keep complaining about how they have jobs and that should be sufficient, working is not that hard. I probably make more money than most of the men who complain about it all the time. This excuse men make that having a job should be enough is ridiculous. It's not that hard.